What's up, guys? Sorry, Wobbly here, Aaron. Let's kind of do some work and get some stuff done, but I figured I wanted to talk to you guys about how um, I got to my previous weight of like 290, 300 pounds. Started off right before COVID. I had gotten down to like almost 250. And I was just exercising. I had a friend who was a trainer, and he was helping me out online because he lives out in the mainland, and I live in Hawaii. And there were some things that uh, obviously changed quite a bit when COVID happened. Couldn't go to the gym. Couldn't. Food was harder to get. There were so many different aspects of it, and kind of get to the point where you get more sedentary and you just sit around and don't do much during that COVID time. Um, you know, Flash forward to April of this year, and uh, I'm at 290 ish, and it was a struggle. Part of that was not sleeping enough at night, staying up all late hours of the night because I didn't have anything to do really. And for those of you that don't know, I'm 100% disabled from the VA. Um, total, total. There's a word for it, but I'm 100% total. Um, and with that, I didn't have it. I don't have anything I had to, do except for take care of my kids and be a dad and be a good husband. And even in those aspects, I didn't do well either. Looking back on it. But with that being said, I'm working. I worked really hard at making a lot of changes. But in order for me to kind of explain how I even got to that weight, I mean, we're gonna have to circle back to when I was a kid. You know, so for those of you that don't know, I was homeless as a child from the ages of about 5 to 7. All throughout California, different shelters. My mom's schizophrenic, bipolar. She also she's been in a state hospital, or at least as far as I know, has been since around that age. She doesn't know who I am anymore. She is in California somewhere, don't know where. So that's one part of the puzzle. Another part of the puzzle was growing up. I grew up with my grandparents. They raised me after the age of 7. My dad decided he didn't want to raise me because he had too many obligations at the church. Um, yeah, I found that out when I was 24. Hurt pretty bad. I still remember like all of it. Anyway, after that, he decided that. Um, I'm sorry. After that, my grandparents took over, and it was a, you know, kind of where I don't know how to explain it, but like I didn't get nurtured, so to speak, as opposed to like taught the right things to do. If I didn't do those things, I get, chocolate to the head, wooden spoon to the head, you name it. Get a good old hand to the ass. No pants. Just pull your pants down. Whack. Um, and it's kind of how I learned. Um, my grandfather was a Marine. He wasn't in for a long time, 4 years, but he did his part, and I learned a lot from him. He was kind of like my best friend, but that kind of leads me to what I'm trying to get at. I didn't get really nurtured growing up. I got, um, you know, guided and told like, hey, this is what to do, this is what not to do. And your parents, generally, they're gonna nurture you and teach you things so that you can understand it. I really have that. I really had more of like the, hey, you got clothes on your back, food to eat, and a place to stay. And that's fine. It's because I'm hard because of that. And I don't mean I'm like hard in the sense that like I don't care about things, and I just meant that it kind of developed me into who I am today. Um, and growing up eating, man, I didn't. We ate like you know just shit. My grandpa used to make this thing called hobo stew, elbow pasta with canned chili, and that's something we would eat together when my grandma wasn't home making food. But when she was home, it'd be, I mean, all kinds of fatty shit. Pork chops, really, really like fatty ground beefs. In the morning, I would always have a monster breakfast, like chorizo, eggs, potatoes, sausage, potatoes, hash browns, and eggs with some type of smaller meat with that. I mean, every day was like that. So I'm thankful for that, but it also, didn't enable me to do the best for myself. And then as I got older and, you know, more things started affecting me, I got teased a lot in elementary um, about not being able to read good and not having, you know, the ability to repeat what I just learned, things of that nature. And what's funny is before my mother got sick, I was in a private school and I won like the math award at the school in second grade because it was a private school K through 12, and I won the math award at that age in second grade. Um, so it's weird because sometimes I think, what happens if I didn't, or my mother didn't get sick? What happens if I got a great education and it was steady my whole life? Could be somebody else right now, but I'm not, and that's okay. Because like I said, everything that I went through made me harder. And I don't mean hard in a bad way. Again, just to clarify how that rings. But as I got older, I would say in it was 11th grade, the summer between 11th and 12th grade. I kind of got fed up. I had all kinds of pimples and stuff. And I'd been struggling with like finding my place just because my mom wasn't around. We had moved to a whole nother city. It was tough. That city's Fresno, California. I'm from the Bay. If I say Oakland, people know where that is, but it's Fremont, Hayward, around that area. Um, and the, had to move, lost all my friends. Um, I get developed, I guess, a depression just because I was away from everybody and everything I ever knew, and that didn't help. I got fat, chunky, pimples, all that. But again, the summer between 11th and 12th grade, I had lost a lot of weight. I ran every day that summer, and I actually had to go to a dermatologist for all like the pimples and shit I had on my skin. But I ended up just like cold turkeying everything that they gave me and just ran every day, and that literally got rid of everything. So I'm thankful that I did that. And then the beginning of my 12th grade year, 9/11 happened. It was the first week of high school, senior year, and I literally was like, I'm not gonna let this ever happen again, or at least I'm gonna do my best and be a part of that to stop it. So I signed up to be in the Marine Corps, and I checked everybody else out. Everybody tried to get at me, Navy, Army, blah blah blah, Air Force, but Marine Corps stood out to me the most. I wanted it to be the hardest. I wanted to have the most challenge. And I'm thankful that I did that because without that, I wouldn't have my family and be where I'm at today. Um, Fast track into the Marine Corps. Um, I always was kind of like a skinny fat. I never was like fully fit. I have no shame in that. I was still a good Marine. I didn't get in trouble. I did my best to do what I had to do. I was always putting out as a Marine. Um, but as I got out and I had multiple injuries, elbow, wrist, shoulder, back surgery, all of those surgeries, I you get lax, and I think as I got out of the Marine Corps, I was about 210, 220. And for a long time, I couldn't break 200 for whatever reason. I just couldn't. And then I got out, I started lifting a lot with a friend of mine, Eric, good friend of mine. And I got pretty big, pretty strong. And then Um, well, kind of fast forward. I hadn't had back surgery in the Marine Corps. I did have back, injuries, but my back surgery came after. I was at a stoplight, rear-ended, and had to have back surgery. It was horrible. But point is that's kind of where things started going downhill. Um, I had actually just got over, like a year later after that, I had hurt my back again somehow, some way. I didn't know. Doctors couldn't figure out. I went to neurologists. I went to everybody. Still couldn't figure it out. I couldn't walk from my the front room ground to the bathroom, which is only about 15 feet maybe. I would sweat bullets just doing that. And I have no idea. One doctor did think that it was kind of like my nerves reconnecting from the surgery, but who knows? Doesn't really matter. Fast forward to that, kind of like it was okay because I had gotten a job at Apple. After I got the job at Apple, I was there for about 4 years, but towards the later half of that, at the end sort of it, um, all within 1 week. It's crazy. Um, Grandma called me to tell me she's dying. My good friend, had a heart attack. My best friend. My wife told me she had Hashimoto's, and I hurt my leg at work. Just like I popped the back of my knee from, I don't know how I did it. I was grabbing and then I leaned down and it just went pop. And it was just a sore. I think it was just a strain, but it hurt. Um, and that same week, I developed like full on PTSD. I always had it. I always was, told in the Marine Corps, but it never materialized into anything. But all those things happening all at once did. I started hearing things. I started, having flashbacks. It was shitty. Um, and, I'd stay up late. Sometimes, I'd start falling asleep and my heart would race to wake up, almost like my body was afraid to go to sleep because I didn't want to have any nightmares, which I think that's what it was. So I'd stay up, I'd eat, I'd do whatever I could to kind of stay awake. Obviously that didn't help to my, gaining weight, or it did help to my gaining weight, I should say. And, it was tough. Now, the thing about all of that is that I continued to kind of go up and down all throughout the years. And then it got to a point where, like, I just was like tired of being overweight. Um, like I said, and then I did well before COVID. COVID happened, kind of fell back into the same routine. Um, but you see, when I did in COVID, before the COVID, I did it because I was trying to lose the weight. I didn't really think about my mind. I didn't think about how it was affecting me as a whole person as opposed to just losing fat. That was my goal, getting strong, losing fat. Now, you know, April 20th this year, 420. It's easy to remember, right? 4/20/22. I finally told my doctor, I don't love myself. And I realized it just because, like, I started looking at myself in the mirror and saying, like, why aren't you happy? And that's kind of what, um, came out of it. I don't love myself. And took a long time to understand that, to realize it. But at the same time, I think when that happened, it gave me an opportunity mentally to change the approach of how I could change myself. So now that I'm on this journey, it's not about me losing the weight. That's a bonus, and yeah, I do, track it because, like, it's just part of, like, what I'm doing. But, like, the real bonus is the mindset, right? So the mindset is like making everything better. It's creating a passion that I have for myself because I didn't have that passion. I didn't have the understanding that I need to be passionate about me. I was always passionate about everybody else, and that's another thing. Like, I've always put people first, and it's a big thing in me, in my family. Like, somebody gets hurt at home, I fly home to California, even though everybody's there in California. I would fly from Hawaii to California to be there for them or help them or do whatever it was. And it's just because, like, that's what was in me. It's just, I had to go do it. I've done that for everybody. I always put people first. Always, always, always. Um, but I didn't realize I had to stop and take care of myself. And that's kind of like, and I know a lot of people go through that. And that's the hardest part, right? Like, stopping and understanding that, hey, you have to come first. That's why they tell you on an airplane, you put your mask on first, then your child's, right? Because if you're bust up, how are you going to help your kid? So, with all that being said, I got to the, like I said, the realization that, didn't love myself and it was time for a change. The next day after I saw my therapist, and I told her, I said, I'm going to start 75 hard. 75 hard, if some of you don't know, it's a challenge. There's an app, you can look it up. Andy Frisella, he's got a podcast all about his 75 hard on like I don't know what I don't know if it was on the original one, the motherfucking CEO project, or the real AF one now. I don't know, honestly. I should know, but I don't. Regardless, I started that, but I didn't start it because I wanted to lose weight. I started it because I needed to work on me. And if you guys don't know what 75 hard is, quick down and dirty of it is 2 workouts a day, 45 minutes each. One has to be outside in some capacity, whether it's a walk, a run, a swim, something outside away from your house in the sun, or just not undercover. And the other one could be under, wherever. You could do 2 outside if you wanted, but that's the point. Like, needed to have 2. It couldn't be back to back either. Had to have at least an hour or 2 in between as well. There was a read 10 pages every day. There was a daily picture check-in, drink 1 gallon of water, no alcohol, no cheap meals, no drugs, all of that stuff. With it being said, it was so much that I was doing nonstop, and it was really good. Like, it started to get my mind motivated to be a better person, not so much work on my fitness, but be a better person. So like in the beginning, like I remember waking up at like 3 a.m. Like, I'm walking at 4 a.m. Like, that's, nobody's gonna stop me. And that's what I did. I woke up so early that I wasn't tired and I just was ready to go. Like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm ready. This is it. I want it. And it went like that for, I don't know, I would say about the next 2 months, because day 29 initially, I forgot to take a picture and I had to start over, because if you don't do those things that are on the checklist, then you can't. And it's all about integrity, right? If you don't have fucking integrity and you fuck something up, then you didn't do it. You didn't do 75 hard. So just, that's it. You didn't do it. But again, I started over. So it was, all in all, I think it was 29 plus 75, whatever that math is. I'm not, 104 days, I think, is the number. And 104 days straight of no cheat meals, back to backs every day, gallon of water, everything. And I lost about 30-ish pounds, right? I was at 290, got to 259. And it was great. And then I took a break after I did it because I had some sores on my feet from walking so much and exercising, and I needed to kind of heal it up. And then I gained about 8 pounds ish that month, or that couple of weeks. Most of it probably is water weight because I dropped quick. And then I found my friend Aaron Williamson, Intense 90 program. I saw him because, he's a Marine. I'm a Marine. I was like, wow, this guy's cool. He trained The Rock. He trained like all these cool people, like major movie stars. And, he goes, DM me the words intense. And I was like, what I got to lose? And that's kind of where we got to here. And when I started with him, which we kind of went over this a little bit already before, but I got COVID the first day we started. So the first 5 days, all I did was try and eat the meals that he, recommended and laid out on the plan, and walk every day. And again, I lost like 8 pounds. And then the next week I got over COVID quickly. And I think it has to do with the food one, but the vitamins as well that he was having me taking. And it just, all of it combined, it was like, and I was motivated to get better. Like, I was really motivated to get better. It's all about the mind, because your mind can do so many things. And I don't think anybody's starting to, like, well, I know a lot of people do. I should take that back. But there are a lot of people that they don't understand that it starts up here. And I didn't even get that until more recently. And that's the thing. I've focused so much on, all this outside shit instead of just focusing on here. And that's kind of where I'm at now. So I got into the point where, um, this is it now. My mindset is I want to be the best version of me every day, and I want to be a little bit better than I was yesterday. And now that's easy to say, right? But what are the things that motivate me? Well, I could talk about that quite a bit. But I wanted to let you guys know like how I got to 290-ish pounds, right? There's that long story. Bad eating, staying up late, not getting enough sleep. Sleep is huge, by the way. A lot of people don't get that either. Um, there's a guy named Alex Huberman that talks about sleep and the impacts it has on your body and life. I would suggest you go check him out on YouTube. Um, and just understand that there's so many different aspects of becoming a better you. It's not about just losing weight. Yeah, this is my goal, losing weight. No, it's got to be more than that. You gotta be like challenging yourself to like, okay, how do I become better everywhere? The transformation isn't just you losing fat or you gaining muscle. It's here. And once you get it here, it translates to the rest of your body. And that's kind of where like I want to like share my journey with you guys. So we'll keep going more and more down the line, but this is kind of where I had to get to then move forward. Simple. It really is. And it sucked that I had to deal with what I had to deal with. I don't wish it upon anybody. But that was one of the things that I promised myself when I had kids is I'll never let my kids go through what I went through. Now, what does that mean to me? It means, you know, not doing drugs so that I can end up like my mom, not being a deadbeat dad so that, I won't be like my dad, not drinking alcohol so I won't be like my uncle. Alcoholic kind of runs in my family. Um, doing whatever it takes to make sure my kids have a home always. That means also like me not cheating, me not getting in trouble, me not doing the dumbest shit in the world so that it'll take me away from my family. And that's the most important thing to me is my family. Like, don't get me wrong. Like this journey and path that I'm on is about my mindset and is about me learning to love myself again. But the number one priority for me, and everybody has their own priorities, but the number one for me is not to let anything get in the path of my family. Anything. I don't care what it is. My family comes first, will always come first, and that's the bottom line. I won't sacrifice them for anything, period. Now, most people say that and go, yeah, most people that do say that don't really mean it. And I know it sucks to say it here. I'm just being raw with you. A lot of people that say that don't mean it because they don't know the realization of like all the shit that I just said. But I just gave you 5 or 6 things that tells you why my family comes first. So again, there's so much that's bottled up inside of me that I want to talk to you guys about. But that's the beginning of it. That's the real like brutal thing of how I got to where I got. Now, in the next couple weeks, the next however long this journey lasts, I'm going to keep sharing with you the little things that I do throughout the whole entire process and how I'm getting better, how I'm learning to love myself. What am I doing to learn to love myself? What are some of the things I still struggle with now? There's just so much. Diet, food, exercise. I kind of wrote some down right here. What do I do daily in the morning to start my day? Like I said before, why it isn't just a body transformation, but it's mind, body, soul, spirit, everything. There's just so much. So I hope you're here for the long haul with me. I want to be able to help others and just share my journey. I want you guys to know that it's totally possible. Yes, I don't work. I know I have an advantage over a lot of people, but I do have kids and I do need to be a father all the time. And, I help out my friends when I can doing little tech kind of things. I build computers for my charity when we get money, one or two donations. But I'm constantly doing things, and I'm a fidgeter. I need to be doing things. PTSD is as part of that. I need something routine in my life so that I can stay focused. Because once I get in my own head, I understand what that can do to me. So I avoid it at all costs. Um, so, but I am learning. I am learning to not just avoid it, but to understand why I feel the way I feel, which is something we can talk about too in the future. Um, Regardless, yeah, that's kind of how I got to where I'm at. It's not so much a pretty story, but the resilience and all the stuff that I endured, growing up to now, it's proof that regardless of your history, regardless of what you've done, you can do whatever you want to do. You can make it. Your past doesn't have to define you, right? Like it doesn't have to make, mom bipolar schizophrenic, dad deadbeat, uncle alcoholic. Like I could be all those things, but I'm not. I chose not to be, right? Like anybody could fall back on that. I could be homeless if I wanted to be, like just be lazy and not have any drive or whatever, but I chose a different path. Did I make mistakes along the way? You damn right I did. But that's how you learn. So that's my story. That's how I got to where I'm at. I know there's a lot of other things that I can talk about, but we'll keep going. Um, I know that was a long one, and I appreciate any of you that stayed around to listen. Hopefully, what I say helps people understand that, they're not the only one going through what they're going through. If they did have a past similar to mine, they can still do well and make it. And you could always reach out to me and help, and I'll help you as much as I can. But you know, this journey is forever. It's lifelong now. So, uh, yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening. If you want to subscribe or comment, like, or whatever all that stuff YouTubers say, you can totally do that, and I'd appreciate it. But if not, no worries. If you're just here to learn some things, cool. I appreciate you even just paying attention. But until next time, Aaron, Starring Wobble, I'll see you next. Peace.